Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for being here this morning. And I really hope you all get something out of our experiences. So before I start, I'd just like maybe to enter all the same door the same way. And I'd like to ask you all a question, right? So if you have to think about yourself, taking into consideration your family background, taking into consideration the opinions people have of you, taking into consideration the perception your family has of you, would it be the same? Would you see any difference from the person you feel you are? Just take a couple of seconds to think about it. And I just want to tell you that it's not easy at all because at this point of my life I still don't have an answer. And if any of you afterwards maybe would like to tell me what they thought, I would be definitely grateful for that. So at school or back home, my friends used to call me Fatima, someone Fatima. My mom back home calls me Fatima Zahra. So does my aunt, my uncle, and my grandmother. And this is because I was born in Morocco. So I was born in Morocco, and I've lived the first 2 years of my life there. I was probably too young to realize what was going on around me, but still I had to live there because my mom had left the country a few months after she gave me birth. So I stayed there with my sister for more than 1 year. In 2002, we came to Italy, and since then I've been living in Torino. In Torino, I've attended elementary school, high school. I hang out with many Italians, with many non-Italians, and I just spontaneously started using their slang, the way they talk. Just because when you spend time with people, when you spend time in a country, and you just talk Italian every day, you just feel that language is yours as well, right? So I just started thinking about Italian as if it was my language. And then I would never forget what my mom used always to tell me. She was just like, see me every day and be like, you can hang out with those people and I swear you'll become one of them. I never really understood what she meant because I was not aware, and I don't think she was either, of the difference she was every day making. There's this thing in my culture, at least from what I've experienced, called Moroccan pride. So if you were born in Morocco, or if your parents were, there's this thing inside you that differentiates you from others. And I find this very beautiful, the ability to stand up and find those little characteristics that make you feel Moroccan. And the capacity to just be able to find what and where you belong to is not something easy. And I feel it's very beautiful and powerful. It's definitely something special, to be able to see what makes you part of a culture. And I never had that ability. I just said it before, I'm Moroccan. I'm Moroccan because my mom is Moroccan. I'm Moroccan because Morocco was the country where I was born. And apparently, most importantly, I'm Moroccan because my passport is green, and in its cover it says Kingdom of Morocco. When I was 14, I went to Morocco during summer. I usually go to Morocco, but that summer was particularly special. We went by car. I went with my family. It's a 3 days long trip. It's just very long and hard. But it's very beautiful, I will never stop loving that trip because it's so beautiful when you get off of the ship and there's so many people around you. And when you're a child, I was a kid. I was not a kid. I was 14. And you just keep looking for the friends you've met in the ship, and you keep trying to find them to say bye, And there's all this mess around you, and the strong smell of oil with which the ship is loaded, and the sound of Arabic or Moroccan or however you want to call it, and the Moroccan policemen complaining and shouting because these Europeans are so slow, and all the volunteers trying to assault you, so to give you as many SIM cards as possible so you can call your family. It's just beautiful, My description is definitely does not maybe reach you completely, but it's just a special thing. So this summer I went to Morocco, and I went also when I was 14. And when I was 14, when we got off of the ship, my aunt drove us to my city from the port of Tangier. And it's 10 hours long, right? So we went from the port to my city, we arrived late at night, and the day before and the day after, we had so many visitors coming to see us. And you probably can imagine, everyone would just tell me one thing after the traditional 4 kisses and the endless staring session. They would just look at me and be like, oh my God, look at this Italian girl. You went there for all these years and you already forgot your culture and your origins. All this without me saying a single word. So you can imagine how it feels. And my relatives, just because I spent most of my life in this country, do not think of me as Moroccan as maybe their sons or daughters are, right? So as we say in Italian, mi avevano già condannata. For them, there was no way for me to be 100% Italian, because I was 100% Moroccan, sorry, because I was Italian, because I spent most of my life here. So, end of this, in Morocco, I'm the Italian girl, right? In Italy, though, it works differently. Unlike my mom and my aunt, some of my friends, when I'm around the city, when they see me, they would just shout Marocchina, you know, this is my label. So they just call me like this. It's not racist, it's fun. But the idea of them, the idea of me for them as a Moroccan, you know, just because I'm Moroccan, and I actually am. My passport is green, my facial features say that I'm Arab, and my name is obviously not Moroccan and not Italian. My name is obviously not Italian, so I'm Moroccan for them. But there's this distinction in Italy. There are the Italians, and the Italians of the second generation. And I find this very funny, you know, the need to find a name for our group, because I'm an Italian of the second generation, and by definition, the second generations are the sons and daughters of all previous immigrants. My mom is an immigrant, so I'm an Italian of the second generation. But to what extent am I actually Italian? Because all the things around me make me feel like I'm not in this country, whereas all the things around me in Morocco make me feel like I'm not Moroccan. So you know, I'm standing in this position where I don't really know who I am and where I belong to. So in Italy, I'm Moroccan. In Morocco, I'm Italian. At 14, I started questioning myself, what was my identity. And I just never had an answer. I still don't have one. And at the beginning, I just thought it was a matter of me being confused. And I didn't realize the enormous scale of teenagers that at this age have a crisis of identity, you know, because we just live in this world in which no one is really willing to identify us as, I don't know, Italians or Moroccan. But at the same time, no one, you know, gives us that environment in which we can just stand alone or sit alone and think about ourselves, because we're always, you know, surrounded by all people's opinions, and we never know what we are. A couple of months ago, I had a discussion with a guy on a Facebook post, because a Facebook page made a pretty racist post. And the post was basically representing the Muslim invasion in Italy. And it was showing that if Italians keep welcoming these Muslims in their country, this will all result in oppression and human rights abuses of the hosting people, of the real Italians, by the Muslims. I felt personally very touched by this, because I'm Moroccan, so I'm an immigrant, I'm Muslim. So I commented, and there was this guy who answered me. I commented by saying that even though I was Moroccan and Muslim, I was feeling as Italian as everybody else who maybe, unlike me, holds the proper passport so they can show that they're Italians. But I just feel as Italian as they do. And his answer was the following: this country will never be yours. Diversity kills the native population of a nation over time. It makes the real race dissolve and creates a hybrid, a mixed race that extinguishes the real one. I don't know, I was feeling weird, you know, it's just like one of those things you always keep talking about but never happens to you. but when it happens to you, you're just like, oh my God, how am I going to answer? And the idea that that guy had of me was that as long as I was Moroccan, as long as I was Muslim, I could not be Italian. So this was the idea not only of that guy, but also of many other people in this country. And then I started thinking about how does my religion, my culture, my identity, my cultural identity affect the way I perceive myself? And how do labels, how do people's opinion of me affect my perception of myself? And I just feel like, I don't know how, but they do, they really do, because otherwise I wouldn't be going through this today. So it's just very hard for many people to realize the extremely big pressure Italians of second generation have in this country, because we are not only victims of pressure from our families, from our friends, from our culture, from our schools, from the city in which we live, from the country, from the people we hang out with, but we're victims of one of the biggest pressure, which is the pressure of our own feelings, because you just don't know how to handle that. You just don't know who you are, and you keep thinking about it, because it's not, it's not something you can just sleep on and be like, well, tomorrow is another day, and I'm going to go on. It's something that keeps following you, and you never find a real answer. I believe what Ricardo said. Ricardo is the guy who commented on that Facebook post, was not completely wrong. Immigrants create mixed races in a country, which I find very beautiful. But something I really disagree with is the way immigration is perceived in this country by many Italians, because this way of perceiving us kills our identity much faster than we extinguish your Italianity, And it's just like very funny, because you just keep thinking of us as the black spots, but actually you're messing us up so much, and it's just, it just happens much faster than we mess you up. I would say at this point of myself that I'm a hybrid. You say hybrid? I'm a hybrid of two countries, of two languages, of two religions, of two completely different cultures. And many people might call me Italian of the second generation. Someone calls me Italian, someone calls me Moroccan. But just to answer to the question I've asked you at the beginning, at this point of my life, I really don't know where I stand.